Hello, and welcome to another episode of Retrospective Gaming. In this episode, I will be reviewing Altered Beast. I've been playing a lot of retro games lately, and it's been awesome. I've been having a hell of a time. It's good to go back and play older games. I've been really enjoying it. It takes me back to another time, even though I wasn't alive when Altered Beast came out. But anyways, let's get to this review. In Altered Beast, you play as a centurion that's been resurrected by Zeus on a mission to save his daughter Athena from Nev. How do you do this? Well, you go through levels fucking shit up. That's right, Altered Beast is a beat 'em up. But there's a difference. Not only will you be punching and kicking your way to the end of the level, but when you beat up these little white wolves, you get these little orbs. And every orb you get more powerful. Get 3 of them orbs, and you turn into a hybrid beast. That's right. Not just one. You could play as a werebear, a weredragon, a werewolf, and more. And that's what I like about Altered Beast. I'm happy that they didn't just have one beast in there, that you just don't, when you get these orbs, there's not just one creature you can turn into. There's different ones for different levels, and that's what keeps the gameplay unique from it being another generic beat 'em up. My favorite creature was the werewolf. I liked the dash attack that he did, and shooting a missile out of his fist at his enemies. I'm not a big fan of the weredragon. Nothing against it, it's just I don't like flying in any game, so that's why I had a problem with it. The game was pretty hard. I wouldn't say extremely hard, but the first 6 or 7 times I played the game, I always died at the beginning of the 3rd level. I don't know why. Almost at the same spot too. Like I said before, it wasn't extremely challenging, but it was hard. I don't know what it is about these old games, but they're kicking my fucking ass. And for some reason, the boss at the end of the 2nd level, the underworld, always gave me the biggest problem. You'll see it if you play it. It's the one with a lot of eyeballs, but that boss always gave me fucking problems. And I lost my lives there and always ended up in the 3rd level with 0 lives and having to start over. So the game was kind of hard. I did have my issues with it, but that's a good thing. I'm glad that, especially with these older games that I'm playing, that I'm having issues, that I'm dying early, and it takes me a couple of tries or even sometimes a dozen or more tries to get the enemy patterns and everything like that to understand the game. I like that. If there wasn't any challenge, the game would be boring as fuck. Now for the graphics, they are dated. This game came out in 1988. I don't know. I don't like saying do they hold up in today's terms or do they stand the test of time. I don't like saying that much because the game almost came out 30 years ago. Of course it's going to be dated. But what I really like about the graphics is that, yes, it can be hard on the eyes for some players. It didn't bother me that much. But what I really like about the graphics is that everything's really detailed for a game that came out in 1988 in my eyes. I mean, looking at the first couple of levels, you really see that they put a lot of effort into the environments, and yes, even different type of enemies and the different creatures you can turn into. This is a game that came out in 1988, and I think the game is very detailed. And I think what level really shows that is the cemetery. Just look at the background while you're going through the game, and you'll see what I'm talking about. One thing that I do want to point out, and it's a little annoying for me, it's something very minor, but when you face the bosses in this game, every time you attack them, and you'll really see this with the first boss, they do this little shaking motion, and I don't know, I just really didn't like that. It didn't bother me that much. It didn't make me turn off the game or anything. It didn't ruin anything. But still, it's just kind of annoying, especially with the first boss. When you hit them, they do this little shaking motion, and I don't know why. It didn't make me sick or anything, but I just don't like that for some reason. But it's a little annoying. It's something minor. It's not a big deal. I just had to point it out. Let's talk about the sound. When I first played Altered Beast, I had my headphones in. I didn't really pay attention to it. I was just listening to music on my phone. But after I died a couple of times, I just decided that I was going to take my headphones off so I can completely focus on the game. And I'm really digging the soundtrack. I thought I wouldn't at first. I just brushed it off. But it's really good. I found myself humming some of the tunes in the game, especially the first level's theme. I really like it. There's 2 other songs that I really like. Guam Hermer and Closed In Upon Me. Look up the soundtrack, then you know what I'm talking about. I kept on humming these 3 themes almost all day after I played the fucking game. But the whole soundtrack is good, and you should definitely check it out. It's still weird. I don't know why, but these older games, they have these rhythms or whatever you want to call it that just get stuck in your head. It's very addictive. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I'm really digging the soundtrack in this game. As far as sound effects, I didn't really pay attention to it that much. I was more focused on the great soundtrack. But I think if you tell any old school gamer or anyone who's played the game before, rise from your grave, I think they'll know what you're talking about. That's definitely a moment to remember in the game. Do I recommend Altered Beast? Yes, I do. Altered Beast is an important game in video game history. That's my opinion. The graphics are dated. The game's almost 30 years old, and that might turn some people off. But the gameplay has enough variety in it to keep it from becoming stale. Not only do you have your standard beat 'em up where you go around punching and kicking things, but you also have something that changes the gameplay. You can turn into these different creatures, and it definitely changes the way you play the game. But more importantly, it's fun. And that's what matters the most, to have fun in the game. So yes, I do recommend Altered Beast. It has a great soundtrack too, you should listen to it. Thank you for watching another episode. I really appreciate the support, and I will continue to come out with these reviews as fast as possible without me trying to rush something out of poor quality. I try to do the best I can for y'all, and I really appreciate the support that I get. You can find me on Twitter, send me a message on there, leave a comment, whatever. Have a great day.